Fed Chair Powell's words are going to move markets today. We're going to talk about key levels to watch to capitalize on the volatility. Hey guys, it's Keith Allen, and we got a busy week here for sure. And I've got a busy day. I've got to take a kid to school here in a little bit, so I'm going to try and crank out a quick analysis, and then I'll get a little bit more in depth later today as I have a live stream coming up with my friends at the Carbon Crew later on today. So let's go ahead and fade out of the music and get into really, I think, what is going to be really an interesting week here for sure. Things obviously heating up today. We have our first round of economic data coming out actually very, very soon, in less than 15 minutes, as a matter of fact. And then we have Fed Chair Powell coming up later today, and then a series of more economic data coming throughout the week. So let's first take a look at what's on the schedule here in terms of economic data. We can head over to this chart right here, and let me get a share on that one for you. There we go. There it is. Come on, load for me. All right. Okay. So as you can see, today we have our PPI coming out here at 8:30 Eastern time, the Eastern Daylight Time. This is not daylight time, by the way. So that's coming up in like 12 minutes. And then, of course, we have Fed Chair Powell coming in at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then tomorrow we'll see an additional metric coming in across with our key inflation data on core inflation and the month over month and year over year CPI, etc. And then on Thursday we get into housing, jobless claims, etc. So what the market wants to see and what the Fed wants to see here, we always week after week I feel like we discuss whether it's a good news equals good news or good news equals bad news. Well, the metrics are a little bit different, and I will preface this by saying I'm no economist, so take this with a grain of salt. But from what we've seen recently, the Fed is looking for, and hence the market is looking for, the continuation of a downtrend in inflation data. They want to see prices coming down, and they want to see the producer prices coming down. They want to see the consumer prices coming down. They want to see housing coming down, and building permits coming down, and they want to see jobless claims going up. Why do they want to see jobless claims going up? Well, because that is an indicator that the policy tightening that they have done so far is working its way through the system. We did see a hot unemployment number recently, so that would continue to fuel that narrative as well. So regardless of how the numbers come out, I think that we should be prepared for volatility, because that is what tends to happen here. And we also need to be identifying some key levels in the charts, because this data is speculative. We don't know what's going to happen. And if you look at what's happening in the charts, you can often get a better feel for how things are going to play out, regardless of what the news of the day says. So first thing you'll notice here in fire charts is that we have what appears to be guardrails at the 65K level and the 60K level. So this may serve as guardrails through this week of volatility that we're expecting. And but even a week or so ago, I had been saying we need to see a more defined range. I'd love to see something in the 5,000, closer to $5,000 than the huge range that we had been trading from 59, what's now 56.5, and that 73.8 level that we hit last month. So this range was too wide for me. I want to see things more defined. I also want to see more bid liquidity coming in before we have a breakout, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? So in terms of what we're seeing right now on the weekly chart, you can see we do have this these temporary guardrails. And I say temporary because it's common for us to see this kind of move in the order book ahead of Fed Chair Powell speeches and ahead of economic data. And we have just, all of it coming here this week. So I would not put too much stock in these actually defining the long-term range, because in situations like this, they can get moved or pulled at the last minute. If the bottom pulls, that would be a rug pull. If the top pulls, I call that a roof pull, whatever you want to call it. I would be cautious about shorting from up here, and I'd be cautious about catching knives down to here until we see some volume buying from whales down here, especially the purple class of whales, which, as you can see, have been really buying dips and selling rips at this point. And if we zoom out a little bit, we can see what they've been doing in the longer term. Just in terms of analyzing that order flow data, they had been accumulating here. Actually, let's go to a 6-month chart because that's really where the what appeared to be accumulation began. And we also see that once we hit that top, they sold and they bought that dip and they sold again. And now what's happening? They've been selling and they bought this dip, right? Bought their way through this dip, and now again selling just a little bit. As you see, they've sold about 35%. If this is 100% of their net buy volume through this 6-month period, they've now sold about 38% of what they bought in that period. And I'm personally am kind of consistent with that as well. As you know, I'm still trying to improve my cost basis on my long-term position. So that's kind of where I'm at. What's missing from the equation here is a big concentrated block of volume in this, close to the active trading range, like we had down here, like we had down here, like we had here, that set prices moving up. And you'll see that whichever side has the most volume typically wins these battles in the end game. So we don't have that here. And in the absence of that, you can see actually more volume from above, more pressure from above pushing price down. We're still waiting to establish that level of volume on the bid side to really get this next leg going from here. So in terms of technical levels that I'm watching, and again, we have to be conscious of what's going on here. Day after day, we're going to have new reports coming out, and we could see this range cleared out, right? We could literally see this range round tripped multiple times here before the end of the week. So be mindful of that. And of course, we're going to be in tune to what's happening with the market data from the Fed and from these economic reports, and try and piece together a narrative for our longer term position. And for those of you who are trading this volatility, you got to know what your limits are and what the risks are. So again, I'm cautious about these levels. They look good for the moment, but before I bought 60K, I would be looking to see buying also happening from whales and specifically from purple whales as well. So let's take a look at what this looks like on the chart, because to me, this is really where things are important. This is where the real drama is happening. Okay, let me expand to this. Okay, so I had talked about this 21-day moving average. That's the green line here. Yesterday on the candle open, we did have a breakout above that level temporarily, and I posted on Twitter that, hey, this is the first chance that Bitcoin has to have a full candle body above that 21-day moving average, and in a really long time. I mean, like all the way back to what, April 8th since that's happened. So this was significant if price could hold up there. And of course it did not, right? It broke back down. So this, of course, is a sign of weakness. In my opinion, either way, right? We hit this low at what, 50, where's our local low? Is at 56. Oh, here we go. At 56.5. Okay. And so what we need, wait a minute, I'm not even looking at the right spot. Here we go. Here's our 56.5. That's better. This is our local low at the moment. It has yet to be retested, and I think a retest needs to happen before we can actually stage a solid bid at taking out this 2021 top at 69K, which to me is really what the breakout level is, in my opinion. But to the downside, right? So here's the lower low at 56.5. If this were to, we switch this over to the sorry, I got noise happening in the background. If we switch this over to the weekly, we can see that the 21-week moving average has now moved into a position slightly above that lower low, right? It's now at about 56.9. So if our lower is at 56.5 and our moving average, our 21-week moving average is at 56.9, imagine we get a retest down here and it holds. That does two things. It helps us establish, gives us a correlation and a validation that this level will indeed hold as a local bottom, and it serves as a higher low, which is what we need to see in order to start building that leg up. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, right? Even if we get this test here, even if the economic data is looking good, we want to see all these things kind of aligning together to give us confidence that we're going to get this leg out of here. So the equations, the pieces of the puzzle for me are obviously, what's Fed Chair Powell telegraphing? Are we still have a chance of one or more rate cuts before the end of the year? Are rate hikes even in discussion at the moment? And so far they have not been. Or are we really pushing back? Is he going to start pushing back against the idea of rate cuts this year? And then obviously, how does the economic data that comes out through the remainder of the week, support that, that messaging? And how does the chart look? Where do we come? Do we get this test down to this 21-week moving average and hold it, which would create that higher low? And then, of course, the last piece of the puzzle is show me the liquidity. Where is the bid block? This right here, 15 million, not enough to do it, right? We got to see more. So those are the pieces of the puzzle that I'm looking for. Hope that gives you some insight. We do have these numbers coming out in just a couple minutes, and I will be back here today at noon Eastern Daylight Time with a live stream with the Carbon Crew, and we'll talk about this and much, much more. Hope that gives you some insight. I hope this, and I hope these streams are helping you out. With that, you know what? Let's give it a wrap right now, and we will talk more later this afternoon. Thanks for following, guys. Smash all the buttons and leave a comment, and we will talk again soon. Have a great day.